5 things that I know now that I wish I'd learned in my 20s. In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you 5 things that I wish I'd learned in my 20s quicker, or you don't have to be held back. So let's get into it. The first one is that life is not black and white, and people are the same as well. So you will have people that for no reason will not like you, or that may be in competition with you. Now these people could be friends or relatives or people that you know professionally or socially. So the one thing is that you don't have to waste so much of your time and energy trying to get them to like you first off, and you don't have to try to utilize so much energy trying to prove to them that you are a good person. Some people will just not like you, it's okay. And that's was one of the lessons from my 20s, and that's one of the lessons from my 20s. But one thing I wanted to also say, that in the same breath, while you have people that may just not like you for some reason or the other, you will have people that will be in your corner. People that you may know for a very long time and will surprise you, or people that you've met recently and they become destiny helpers, or they become they become very important in your life, that they want to see you succeed, they want to help you with success. And so I wish I knew this, but I wish I could have just accepted it in my 20s, that it's okay. Like the people that don't like you, that's okay. And the people that do like you, stop trying to fight it as well. Accept the help that you get sometimes, because I feel like it's very easy then, if you can't rationalize why someone is helping you, or if you're not used to accepting help, that you might fend that off because you don't really you think there might be an ulterior motive, and sometimes there is. You may think there's an ulterior motive, so you might not accept the help, or you may not reach out to them for help. But the one thing I can say is that there are people who are for you and there are people who are against you, and there may be even be innumerably more people that are for you than those who are against you. But what very important thing is that even when you do happen to look around and find yourself, and you may think that there's no one there for you, you have you have yourself, and that's enough as well. Like Philippians 4:13 says, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. So you have yourself and you have God. And so that's enough, because you don't also want to spend too much of your time trying to find your community. It is important, but don't waste your life trying to fit into places, trying to sit at tables that are not meant for you, trying to become the top tier friend. If it's not happening for you, it may be because of one reason or the other, but know that when you have yourself, you have everything. If you have yourself and you have God by your side, you have everything that you need. So that's my first lesson, is that not everything is black and white, and people aren't like that as well. I don't want to get into things, but you have everything you need if you have yourself and God. The second thing, I'm going to look into my book because I made some notes. Oh yeah, this one is a short one. It seems like a bit of an obvious one, but I think it's something that is being overlooked often. Reading. It'll do more for you than art forms or other activities, like recreational activities. Reading, it expands your mind, it opens you to different worlds that you never would have thought existed. So that's one thing. Whether you reading books is great, reading newspapers, magazines, as long as you're reading, you expand your vocabulary, you learn how people think. It does a lot for you. So that's the second thing. And then the third thing, I once heard this a couple of years ago and it stayed with me. I think it's Kabelo Mabelana from TKZ. No, I'm showing my age. So he said, time spent praying, exercising, or learning is never wasted. So I just wanted to touch more on the learning part, on education, especially for me as someone who spent a lot of time, invested a lot of years in learning. It felt like sometimes if you're doing a postgrad or even like a degree that takes a long time, you may feel like you are wasting time. You feel like you're behind your peers because you see people around you already graduating, getting jobs and reaching, the adulthood milestones. And then you may feel like, oh, is this even worth it? Is this wasting time? So as much as I did embrace most of my experience as a student, I did have those doubts that I sometimes overlooked the positives that came from it. For example, I got to travel a lot when I was doing my PhD. I went to Chicago, I went to Germany, I went to the Netherlands, I went home to South Africa. I got to, study in Ireland. Where else did I go? I can't remember. But my point is, sometimes you kind of, with being in higher education, sometimes you may feel like, oh, is this worth it? Am I wasting time? And I speak about this more because as a Black woman, I know that the statistics say that Black women are the most educated demographic in America. But I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that Black women are the most educated demographic in all the nations that afford women an equal opportunity to study. Even from my own my own circles, whether it's friends or acquaintances, there's a lot of people that have PhDs, MDs, MSCs, oh my god, MBAs, MAs, BScs, BAs, diplomas, multiple qualifications. It's just, I don't know, I feel like Black women study, we learn and we educate and we upskill ourselves so much. And sometimes as we are doing that, sometimes it may feel like, you may be discouraged because the journey is so long. You may feel discouraged that, is this even going to be worth it at the end? And more often than not, it is. So it just goes back to my point that time spent exercising, praying or learning, whether it's formal education or just learning a skill like learning how to play guitar or learning to crochet or learning to cook better, it's time never wasted. My other truth that I wish I could have accepted while I was in my 20s. I think this one is the most important. This is that your body is your friend. Most of the time, the body is not trying to work against you. Unless if you have an autoimmune disease where it's literally trying to work against you. That's the caveat, that's the disclaimer. But most of the time, your body, whether you have like an autoimmune, if you don't have an autoimmune disease or other hormonal diseases like maybe PCOS or endometriosis, most of the time the body is trying to work with you, even when it manifests itself as something negative. For example, most of us, when we feel stressed, we gain weight. But it's not the body trying to punish you because you are stressed. The body is looking out for you. It's like, oh, I can see this person is stressed. I can see they're having a hard time. Let me conserve some energy. Let me store some fat to protect them. But we don't want that, especially since we don't want it to store that excess fat. But the body doesn't do that to be spiteful to us. It does it to help us. For example, and also like other things, like even small, subtle things, like subtle hints, the body might be trying to tell you, hey, look out, this is a stressful situation for you before, before it becomes something big or something terrible. Your body might tell you in little ways that, look, this is not the space for you. You might feel anxious when you are in certain situations because your body, you kind of know, your body knows that you're not supposed to be there. I'm not saying that every time you're anxious is because you're not meant to be there, but I'm just trying to make an example that your body most of the time is not working against you unless if you're sick. And even for like small and subtle things like cravings, like you could be craving, people with iron deficiencies, that would manifest itself as craving ice or what's it called? Petroco. I look up the word and put it there. You crave the smell of soil, and some people may eat chalk. That's most likely an iron deficiency, or soil. Or umgub. That is most likely an iron deficiency. So your body is saying, look, you are deficient in iron, and so you are craving all these things, but if you went for blood tests, you could see then that, oh, you need to address this particular problem. Magnesium deficiency would manifest itself as you want chocolate. That's not too bad. But, chocolate normally comes with sugar, so it then creates other problems. And then like zinc deficiency might manifest itself as a reduced sense of taste and a reduced sense of smell. So then you end up wanting or craving foods that have strong flavors, or foods that are very salty. If you look into it and you spoke to like a medical person, you could figure out that, oh, perhaps this is a zinc deficiency. Oh, sodium deficiencies as well. You might have like an imbalance of electrolytes, and so you might be eating food that's high in salt. Unfortunate thing is that we tend to eat when we have cravings, or if let's say if I have a salt craving, I probably won't like eat like a nutrient dense food that's also high in salt. I'll probably go for nutritionally deficient food. So I'll just go for nutritionally poor foods and eat that, and then that will cause other problems for me. So but my bottom line is that most of the time your body is trying to look out for you, and then you have this host of microbes. I could talk the whole day about your microbes and how your cells constantly working, trying to keep you alive. They're on your side. You have that. Trying to do what's best for you. My last point, and this is important for me because it is a point that I know intellectually, but I haven't fully embraced yet, and this is you need to talk more. The world is set up for extroverts. The world favors extroverts more to introverts. Being able to talk and put yourself out there is a form of currency. Even before you can demonstrate the skill, you are required to talk about how you are able to demonstrate a skill. I'll just make an example. You could be someone who's very good at their job, but you need to convince an interview panel that you can do your job. I mean, you'll have your qualifications and your CV, your resume and everything, but you also need to sit through an interview and convince a group of people, one person or a group of people, that yes, I know what I'm talking about, I can do this job. So talking is a form of currency. Like if I had to go back to my 20s and tell myself, I'd say, hey, put yourself out there more to talk, put yourself out there so that you don't have the fear of speaking in front of people or being listened to. Because sometimes as soon as I clock that, oh, people are quiet and listening to me, then it becomes nerve-wracking. So I stop then. Like, not that I stop, I just become nervous, become more nervous, and I start fumbling with my words and I don't articulate myself as much or as well. So one thing if I could go to my 20s and tell myself is you need to talk. But if you're an introvert, it takes time for people to realize, for example, the level of your competence and the level of your intellect. It's only after people know you or they've stayed with you for some time that they'll even come back to you and say, oh, I didn't realize that you could do this, or I didn't realize that you were so good in this. And sometimes you may not get that opportunity of an extended period of time. You may not get that advantage of an extended period of time for people to spend time with you and know. So for people to spend time with you, for you to convince them then that you are able to execute certain tasks. So being able to sell yourself and put yourself out there is a skill, and it's a currency, and it's something that you need to be constantly developing. And I'm currently working on that, and hence this YouTube channel. I'm trying to put myself and do these sit down videos. I'm addressing that because you mostly get better at things by doing them. Yeah, also another thing about being able to talk, if you are used to talking, then you can get used to standing up for yourself. I'm trying to teach this to my younger sisters as well, being the ability to stand up for what you want and stand up for yourself, to advocate for yourself. People are too busy out there to be advocating for you. They might not even see what the problem or the issue is, but you need to be able to talk so that you can articulate and say, hey, you're not treating me well here, or hey, I deserve this, I deserve that, I deserve better. Those sort of things. You need to be able to talk and just and stand up for yourself. You need to sell yourself and you need to stand up for yourself. You know, those two things. That's why talking is important. And then I have I have a bonus point, but I didn't realize that anyone could post content. I thought you needed to be someone who had figured out life already, someone who knew what they were talking about before you could post. So then the two things about that: one is that if you don't realize that anyone can post and anyone can create content, you end up consuming content from charlatans as well. You think this is not journalism where everything is verified and peer reviewed, whatnot. It's just someone in front of a camera and doing their own thing. So you could consume nonsense because anybody can post. But on the flip side, because anybody can post, instead of being a consumer of social media, you could also post and share your ideas and share your thoughts and skills if it's something that you could do on camera and teach people. So that was another thing that I wish I'd learned. I wish I'd learned when I was younger and I had more. Oh my god, I sound like I'm dying. I wish I had learned this when I was younger and I had more time. So if you got this far, thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. Thank you.